What's going on, guys? It's your boy Slayer Extreme TV, and we're back with another ASA Modding Arc Dev Kit video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create your own tranq arrow that also depletes food at the same time, and also changing the skeletal mesh of the arrow as well. Now, I hope you enjoy this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Besides that, guys, let's get right into it. Now we know that we know how to make an item. I mean, it's pretty basic with how we because it's always the same concept. You find what you're looking for, copy paste. I'm sorry, not copy paste, but you copy, create a new one, rename it, and go from there. So we're gonna need to start with two things, okay? And this is the easiest way that I know of to create your own tranq arrow. Where is Primal Earth? Okay. Or no, we'll just do it this way. First things first is you got to find the engram for it. So what I like to do is we just search it. We'll do tranq. Let's do arrow. All right. So this is what we got. This is all that comes up when you do tranq. Best way I do it is because I personally don't know what the engrams are called or anything. So we're just going to right click and we'll go to reference viewer. And basically we're going to see what it's, you know, pretty much it's going to show us exactly what we're looking for. So we'll need this. So we need to go here. Oh Lord. So we'll just right click. You'll basically right click here and you'll just browse the asset and it'll take you directly to the asset. We'll go ahead and drag that into the pre-made folder I made for it and copy that. Now what we need is the engram, wherever that may be. Hello? Nope. Engram entry. There it is. So we'll do the same thing. Right click, browse to the asset. Oh, Jesus. Don't do what I was about to do and mess that up. So we're going to drag it, copy here. And for now, those are the only two. Everything that we're going to need, we'll find in those two blueprints that we just made. So we'll close that out. Come back over here. Now let's rename this. Let's see. We'll rename this to, let's see, that's an arrow tranq. We'll just do _ SM just to make it a little bit easier. _ SM. All right. So we'll come into the engram. And just like we did with the structure, we're going to set everything up. So first things first, we come into our engram entry. We are going to link our new blueprint for our tranq arrow and place it here. We'll make it 0 engram points. We'll make this level 1. Manually can be unlocked. Give it straight to player. Perfect. And see right here, if you don't pay attention to this, most people, I don't know if anybody's told you this, but if you go here into the engram requirement sets, basically what this is basically what this is stating is that you have to unlock these two just to unlock this. And because, you know, we're simple-minded folk and we're modding and we don't need all that stuff and that fanciness, we're just going to remove that completely. Sorry, we're going to remove the entire engram required sets because we don't need it. So we'll compile, save, boom, we're done. Now let's jump into the primal item ammo. And we'll just make this really simple, real quick. Description, tranq, we'll just do SM tranq arrow. Now here's the fun part, okay? From here, if I'm not mistaken, we need to go to, if you go to the top of the search bar, you type in wep, or weapon really. Basically what you're doing is you're looking for these. Okay, you may be wondering, what the hell am I looking at? Well, in regards to this, okay, if and only if you want this tranq to work with the vanilla items, this is what you're gonna have to do. Okay, first things first, you are going to need, I think it's this one. As you can see, you have weapon bow tranq, weapon crossbow tranq, weapon compound bow tranq. What those three are entailing is that this tranq right now, the way it is, it will work for these, right? And so it basically depending on what you want to do, that's what's going to determine on what you're going to need. So say we just want this tranq arrow, all right, that we're making. We only want it to work for the bow. So we'll go ahead and delete the extra templates, and we'll delete these because we really don't need them. And this is all we need. Now this is stating the vanilla bow. We don't want to touch that. What we want to do is find this weapon bow tranq. So we'll go to browse to asset. Give it a second. All right, and here it is. We're going to drag it, copy into our folder. Let's rename this _SM. All right, and we'll take this, load it into here. Now let's see. If I'm not mistaken, we need, let me make sure I think that's everything that we need in here. Well, we're not doing anything with the, oh, excuse me. I think it's, yep. If I'm not mistaken, buff to give owner. I don't think it's on that. I'm going to say that's all we need for now. So let's go into our weapon bow. So if you want to change the skeletal mesh of the arrow, once this loads all my shaders, this is what I did. There may be other methods. There may be a better use or better way to do this. But what I did for the skeletal mesh for the arrow is I just found the skeletal mesh, just like I just basically take the vanilla one. Oh Lord, load my, okay, come on. And we'll just make a copy, just like everything else we do. And I'm going to put SM this front to rename it. And then we're just going to link it into here, which is because it's our weapon bow tranq blueprint class. Now here's the fun part, because this is where I have to try to remember that I'm doing it correctly. And here, if you want to change the arrow materials for basically the skeletal mesh to ensure they work, even though I'll do this now, even though you can change the skeletal mesh material to whatever you want, if you don't change it within here, which would be for this element right here and for this one right here, if you don't change that, the arrow will never actually show that it's changed completely material wise. I realized that when I was messing around and creating my tranq arrows for my mod, so keep that in mind. Now if I'm not mistaken, let's see, where is the next part we're looking for? I gotta make sure I'm like, I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's projectile. Let's try that. Project. Yep, there it is. Projectile class. This is another thing we need. You will always need the projectile class for what you're making. I only know how to do tranqs and anything that would reference tranqs, so keep that in mind, that my knowledge is very limited and I'm still learning, and I'm basically, when I learn something, I give it to you guys. So we're going to browse for this in our content browser and grab this asset, copy it into here, create a new one. We're just going to put this in the beginning. Oops. Just so we know it's ours. All right. So now we've taken the projectile class and we're going to make sure that it's linked. Wait, what the heck did I just take? Oops, I might have did that wrong. Cancel. Yep, I did that wrong because I didn't rename the right thing. Okay, that's fine. All right, so here's our projectile class. I went to the weapon thing. If you change the name and it's already linked to something, FYI, it doesn't affect it because it changes the name wherever it's linked, because it's linked to the file, not the name. So we'll take this projectile class, we'll link it here. And let me make sure. Yep. So once you get your projectile blueprint and everything, we're still in the weapon blueprint class. So just type in ammo and you want to come down here, weapon ammo item template. You want to make sure that your version of your tranq is linked. because if it's not, it ain't gonna work. Let's see, and I do believe, let me see, drop, nope. Is it pickup? Nope. Yep, I do. Sorry, I got quiet for a second. That's my apologies, but I do believe that's all we need to do here. So you want to make sure that you get, so to go back, well, we want to make sure the projectile, you get your projectile class, you get your very own version of whatever class it's currently using, and then you want to, last but not least, type in ammo and ensure that your weapon ammo item template is set to your specific primal item blueprint for your tranq. And now we'll jump into the projectile class, sorry. And as you can see, it's a static mesh, so we'll link our version of the static mesh. And I'll change the materials to something I have just lying around just for funsies. So here you will be looking for something very, very specific. Okay, right here, pick up item class. Now you can make this however you want it. This is basically going off of the vanilla tranq. So therefore, whenever you use a vanilla tranq, it would normally, you could pick up the arrow or have a chance to pick up the arrow, and it would give you back a regular arrow. We're gonna make it to where you can pick up your tranq arrow again. Reusable, right? Or at least a % chance of picking it up, right? So next, now that's not a must, but you can, that's based on personal preference if you want to do that for you and your mod. Next thing we are going to do, where is it? It is here somewhere, I promise. My brain is not working to its fullest right now, but we are trying to remember how to do this. Let me type in, let's see, effect. Yep, type in effect in the search bar to pull it up, because apparently my brain is, well, not braining correctly. So this is one of the last things you will need to get. Oh no, sorry, it's second to the last thing you need to get. So here you have a damage type. Now there's different ways you can make this happen. Okay, first you could just keep this projectile damage class the way it is and use exactly the settings however you want it. It's up to you. But this is what we're going to do. What I like to do is change the impact emitter, and I like to give it the acid explosion emitter. So whenever your arrow hits its target, it shows that acid explosion. I enjoy that. It's up to you, personal preference in my opinion. But what you really need to get is this damage type. Now, as you can see, the damage type is the same for both damage type and direct damage type. This is where you will start really putting that tranq level and that hunger depletion into your arrow. So we're going to browse for this asset, and we're going to create our very own variant of the damage type. So we'll copy it into our folder. We'll rename it SM. All right. Because this is the only thing you have to worry about in this projectile class, if I'm not mistaken, outside of the pickup item class. So again, in the search bar, you'll just type in effect and it'll bring up all of this. So now what we need to do is mess with our damage type. Now it's already set up for torpidity, which means all you have to do is damage torpidity increase multiplier. That's all you have to change. If you're just trying to be like, keep it everything the way it is, don't change that. It doesn't, you don't want the tranq arrow to do more damage. You just want it to do a stupid amount of torpor. Well, this is what you just come into your damage type, change the damage torpidity increase multiplier. We'll change this to say, we'll make it stupid. Let's see, that's 50,000 torpor, right? And you may think you're done. Well, you're not, because now you want, make this easy so it pulls up what you need. We'll type in buff, and right here, buff to give victim character. As you can see, there's no buff. So what that means is that we now have to create a buff. So the best option to do, So we actually need a buff for this hunger depletion tranq arrow. So if you come into your content browser, make sure you're in all the content, come into the search bar and just type in buff. This is the part that it doesn't matter which one you take. Hello, get that off. Okay, so we'll just do, where is it? The one I always use is, and we'll do blood drain. Doesn't matter which one you use. So we'll just take a buff. Doesn't matter which one you use. You copy it into your file. And this is supposed to be hunger drain SM. How you name it is up to you. As long as it doesn't represent anything in vanilla, keep that in mind. That's all that matters. So now that we have our buff, we'll go ahead and link it here. We'll compile, we'll save it. We're gonna move that over there. Hello, okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and link our damage type here, compile and save it. Now that everything is linked, this is the only thing we have to worry about is our buff. Now the buff, whoa, what is happening? Preparing shaders, okay. The buff is very, very easy. It took me a minute to understand it. It may seem a little bit chaotic in terms of like, what are you trying to do, right? And for this, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this, and you don't need that. Okay, so depending on what buff you're going to use, there's certain things you can have and certain things you don't need. It depends on how in depth you are trying to get into, if that makes any sense. Now, the only thing you're looking for is right here, values to add per second, because this is food depletion. You'll come over here to your food, and most people, and I had to learn this the hard way. Most people probably think if you do go to the increase number, well, that's going to decrease, some people think increasing the number decreases and decreasing the number increases type of thing, or at least in my personal opinion, that's what I thought. So what I do is I make it a negative number, and I always start out with negative 0.1. That's what I have on my tranks, and it works perfectly. And that's all I need. That's all I do. Save, compile, save, done. And now, basically everything has been linked. We've linked and ensured that everything is linked. We can go back and double check everything. We got all of our projects linked, our projectile class linked to our weapon class BP. Our weapon is actually linked here. Like we're set up, right? Now, this is the true test to ensure that I actually did this correctly, because I do have issues of remembering steps. So apologies ahead of time. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump in to the play editor, spawn in an untamed Bobby. We are going to come in here and give ourselves some arrows, and then we're going to make this easy for ourselves. Actually, we'll just do it this way. GCM, and we'll be right back as my game tries to load in all the assets for GCM. And we're back. All right, now that GCM is loaded, we're going to go ahead and craft us a vanilla bow. And now here's the fun part. This is how you know if it worked. Here's our SM tranq arrow, and you know it's ours because, where is it? Oh yeah. Oh, before we do that, my apologies. We're gonna do this first. I forgot one step. Now that we created our engram, don't make the same mistake as I did. But you'll come into your mod data asset, additional engrams, and now we need to add this additional engram to, there's our tranq SM, to our engram list, and save it, and we're done. Now we can really test it out. So let's jump. Oh, okay, yep. If this comes up, like again, I think I've said this before, just go ahead and play in editor. I don't know why it does that. Now let's give ourselves some arrows. Here's Mr. Bobby. We'll go back into GCM. Shouldn't be that hard to now craft ourselves a bow. and this is the best part. Now this is a vanilla bow. This is how you know whether or not your new tranq is actually working the proper method. And this is for vanilla items. You can always create your own weapon for your tranq to be even more OP than just what the tranq already is, right? So we have our SM tranq arrow. The fact that we can actually drag it into the weapon and you see the ammo means we did everything correctly. Now, here's the fun part. Now, if I shoot, you hear that splash? Look, there's the acid explosion. So it's working. Now here's the true part. Is our 50,000 torpidity gonna drain the health of our good old friend Bobby here? And it's tranked out. Easy. And the food drain is not working. I think we might have messed up. And that's just the food drain. Everything else works, which means that it's just the buff. Now we have to figure it out. Let's see. I think it's character stat values. Maybe if we change this to this. Actually, let's just go back to oxygen. If I remember correctly, that should be it. So why it's not being applied, I don't know. Deactivate. Oh wait, activation. Nope. What is this? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember because I think I missed something. Oh, you know what? Let's just make this easy on myself. Let's go look at my buff and make sure that we actually did it correctly. I apologize for the length of this video, but you know what? Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So let's go in. Oh no, that's not where my buffs are. All right, food drain buff. Now let's compare the two. Because this is my personal one that I made when I originally did this. Let's just, let's just match this stuff up, right? Let's see. So here's the one I did a while back. All right, so we'll change this deactivation. I don't honestly remember which buff I used. So if you want to pause the video and just copy what I'm doing, that's up to you. I am more or less trying to, oh, there we go. It's add character values. So that's one thing you need to make sure. And what does it say? Destroy, what is the next one? Destroy on target stasis. And then AoE only apply buff to wild dinos. AoE. So those two, okay. So there's, I don't know, I'll figure out which is probably, I don't know what the best buff is to use for this. I apologize again. If you know, please drop it in the comments because I made this a while back. But it looks like outside of that, what the heck am I looking at? We don't need these. Prevent on boss dino. So that's, oh, prevent on boss dino is going to be that's going to be different. So we don't really need that. So we're going to compile, save what we have so far. And then all I'm doing right now is double checking to ensure that the one I made a while back. Yeah, that should be good. Is going to help me understand what I may have done wrong, and that was pretty much it. And I'll go over it again here of what I didn't have set up on it. So basically it was just the things I had to make sure that I didn't even realize I didn't have set up on it was pretty much having it to where it adds the character values that we set up, which is the food drain. And I can't explain what these three are, but we're going to just throw them in there anyways, because that's what the one I originally set up a while back for my personal mod that I've been working on. And now the true test to see if it's truly working again. Oops. We'll come back into the editor, spawn a Bobby, give us some arrows, GCM. All right. So we know everything was working fine. Torpor was a one hit and quitter. And the only thing we need to make sure now is that the character values that we set up are going to be added to the dino, which is the food drain only. All right, so he's knocked out. And the food drain's not food draining. Why isn't the food drain food draining? What the heck is going on? Did I not save it? Oh, I did save it. Is it the damage type? Unless they change something that I'm not aware of, bro, that's literally all I had to do. Yeah, let's do it this way. What if we add it super negative? We're gonna get this to work, guys, I promise, because I've done everything is literally being done the way I did it before, but you know, sometimes stuff happens to where a certain method is no longer working, or I may have missed something and I just can't even remember as of right now. So let's see. Wait, I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. Let's see. Nope. Act. Okay, let's see. Activation. All right. Oh, Lord Jesus. Am I lagging? I think mom. Okay. Yep, just a little lag. So I will be right back. And when I figure this out on why I apparently probably missed a step, honestly. But we'll be right back when I figure it out, and I'll let you know. All right. All right, we're back, guys. I have figured out what the issue was, and it's the one thing I couldn't remember. So I apologize in advance. I'm sorry that I didn't even pay attention to it. You need a timer. Basically, you're looking for a time limit on how long the buff is going to be active after the initial hit. So pretty much, and the best way to describe it, because my words are probably not the best of what I just said, you might be even more confused. Basically, once you set up the values to add per second, you make sure it's adding the character values within your buff. Okay. You also want to set up one more thing. That's the deactivate after time. I couldn't remember what it was. I figured it out. I apologize. But what you want to do is set the time, which is seconds, or I'm guessing is seconds, of how long you want this buff to be applied and how long it will take before it's deactivated. Originally, this buff was taking 3 seconds. So by the time we tranked it, ran up to it, it was already done depleting the food. So now, because that's the last thing I had to ensure, this is the only other thing within your buff if you want to decrease food. Now this could go for health, this could go for stamina, it could go for probably anything that you set up if you want it to be a buff, and this goes for other buffs that you may be making in the future. Always look at the deactivate after time to ensure that you have it set to the correct number you want it for your specific buff that you're making for your mod. So we'll go ahead, we set it up, we've compiled, saved, we've set it up back to -0.1. We'll close all of this out. we'll go into the play editor, so you can truly see that we actually did it right. Without that deactivation after time, we weren't really getting a good showing on what our trank is supposed to be doing. But now with that deactivation after time setup, and we've already set up everything else to work properly, because the food drain is the only thing we had issues with. When we trank out of our dyno, now we can truly see. Look at that food drain. Isn't that phenomenal? Now it could go faster. It's all based on how big of a food drain you want it, whether you want it to be instant or whatever. And you could probably even graph something to where it's even better than what we're watching now. I don't know anything about graphs, so if you know something, hey, let me know. If you can show me how to graph, I would be much appreciated. Besides that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very helpful and useful for you guys. If you didn't already know this information, most of the information is from the early days of Ark Survival Evolved that we just brought over from there to ASA. But if you needed, here's a more updated video on that. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful day, guys.